Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm your girl, Shy Rosalind, and welcome to the latest episode of Church Drama Follies Thoughts from the Audience. So, yes, I am getting on the dress bandwagon. This is the fashion episode, my dears, of thoughts from the audience. And of course, before we get started, just a little bit of housekeeping. Of course, the copyright disclaimer. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, commenting, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Um, anyway, this presentation is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Respectful comments are always welcome. Likes are free. Sharing is caring. If you'd like to follow me on Instagram, there it is, Shy Rosalind, N as in Nancy, D as in David, B as in boy. And if you are so inclined and you feel like throwing me some, buy me a cup of coffee, that on the right of the screen is my Cash App. So, anyhow, tonight I want to talk about that dress, but I am not going to discuss whether it was appropriate, inappropriate. I will leave that to the online theologians to hash out. I have heard some people say she should never have worn it. I've heard other people say that there was nothing wrong with it because of the type of occasion they were attending. I will leave that to the theologians to hash out. What I want to talk about is, how is a dress like this made? I'm talking about it from the artist side of it. So, just a brief summary. Dr. Carrie Turner Bryant's dress, which was worn at the 2025 UNCF Atlanta Mayor's Mass Ball, was designed to create an illusion of sheerness while maintaining full coverage. So y'all, she was not just underwear under the dress. There was a lining. So, a fresh flesh colored lining was the foundation of the dress. It was a flesh toned lining designed to match her skin tone. This nude paneling, for lack of a better word, created the optical illusion of bare skin, which is what set everybody off. Some people actually thought that she was truly naked under the black lace, which is impossible to do, and I'll explain why in a little while. So, on top of the flesh tone lining was a black lace overlay. So the lace kind of enhanced the illusion. Then the gown featured a plunging neckline and a large black bow um, down by her legs, between her hip and her knee. And she completed the look with formal black gloves, a cute purse. I want to know where she got her purse from. And her hair, it was strawberry blonde. So that's basically the dress in a nutshell. Now, I want to show you guys what this lace with the flesh colored lining looks like in other colors. Now, here's the other thing. Everyone needs to understand it's an illusion. So she was not naked under the lace. Everyone seems to be getting that confused. That was not the case. It's impossible for her to have worn the lace without the lining. It doesn't work that way. Um, my mom was a dress designer for over 40 years. She has made dresses similar to this. She actually made one for herself, but of course, no plunging neckline. But it was black lace over a green lining. The way lace is created and made, there is no way to wear the lace like this without a foundation underneath it. So I just want to make that really clear, that there's no way she could have been naked right underneath the lace. It just can't, it won't work. And I'm going to show you some examples. Okay, so here are some examples of dresses with a lace and a flesh colored lining. So the first one, the white one, is actually a bridal gown. Lots of bridal gowns now have some kind of lace with um, an underlay or a lining under it. Um, if you just search bridal or formal wear, formal wear, lace bridal wear, you're going to see a lot of dresses similar to the white dress that's on the left hand side of the screen. And as you guys can see from this close up, there is a little cleavage, but you can see there's no way the bride is is truly nude under the lace. It's impossible. I'll get to why in a minute. Then, of course, we have a prom dress. The red dress is a prom dress, and it's the same thing. It's red lace and a flesh colored lining underneath it. So you can do different colors, different patterns, um, and a lot of formal occasions, weddings, bridesmaids, that kind of thing. This is still in style. Styles change. That's the other thing people need to keep in mind. Styles change. One day, late, this kind of fashion is in. The next year, it could be all solid colors. Um, it could be, everybody wants sleeves one year, or people want to go sleeveless. Fashion is always changing, and it's up to the creativity of the designer to decide what's in and what's out for the seasons. But some styles are always they're considered classic. Um, they're always I don't want to say respectable, but they're considered classic styles. So even if it's 2 or 3 seasons from now, somebody could wear a dress like the red dress, and it would still be considered cool or fashion forward. Maybe they'll add a sleeve to the dress, or a jacket or a little bolero to the dress. Um, and that would change it up a bit. And of course, the black dress in this slide is that was the one that's most similar to Carrie Bryant's dress. Um, as you can see, it's black lace with a design, and it looks sheer, but trust me, that's a lining underneath the lace. And it has a little sleeve to it, and the cleavage is not it's not a plunging neckline. Obviously her shoulders are covered, and up to her neck are to covered, but there is an opening in the cleavage line, but it's a lining underneath it. And probably for some of these models, there's a lining underneath the lace, and they are probably, hopefully, wearing foundation undergarments as well. So, again, they're not naked under the dress. You think they are, but they're not. So that's something people need to keep in mind. So, how does one make a dress with this particular style or concept? And believe it or not, it's not that difficult. Now, if you go onto YouTube and search how to make a lace dress, there's a ton of videos. That is a whole rabbit hole. If you're into sewing or you're curious about how it's done, there's a ton of videos showing the basics. Um, and in actuality, there are patterns you can buy, sewing patterns. You can get McCall's or Simplicity. Back in the day, that's how you made a dress. You went out, you got the pattern, picked out your material, and you literally follow the pattern. You pick your fabrics that you want to use. There's stretch lace or woven lace. There is a difference. I won't get into it. Y'all can look it up. And then you need a lining. Now some people use a knit lining, some people use satin. It depends on what you're looking for, and it depends on who the designer is. So I'm not going to read the instructions all the way through, but basically you use the dress pattern to cut the panels for the dress. You make sure you based a based stitch is basically a big stitch, um, just to hold the pattern to the material. It's not your final stitch. You're going to end up taking that stitch out and putting it on the machine, or if you're going to hand hem it, you hem it by hand. Um, so that's how you start it. Then once you have your panels lined up, um, and you have them um, attached to the pattern, you're going to assemble your dress. So to assemble the dress, you're gonna stitch what's considered darts and seams. So the darts are usually the top part of the dress where the cleavage is. Might also be the sides of the dress where your hips are. Um, the seams are basically connecting the panels together, and it the seams are basically like if you ever have like a pair of pants that are a little too tight and you need them to let out, you're gonna let out the pants near the top where the waist is. Those stitches on the sides of the pants, those are considered seams. Then once you have all your stuff, your darts and your seams and the panels of the dress are put together, you're going to join the lace and the lining together. And again, you guys need to actually sit down and watch a video of how it's made to really understand the instructions. But basically, it's like you're making a sandwich. You got one side of the bread with the mayonnaise and the cheese and and your meat, and then the other slice of bread you have your mayonnaise, but you might have your lettuce and tomato, and you're going to do each side of the bread, each side of the sandwich, and then put the sandwich together. That's basically what you're doing. So you're going to put your lining and your lace together, and then you're going to continue to put the seams. If you want, you can put elastic in the seams if you want, or not. And then the final step, you're gonna attach your sleeves and your neckline together. And at this point, you're going to be using your sewing machine for that. And then finally, you're going to stitch your edges and hem your lining. You might want to attach the lace to the hem. That's kind of optional. Some people do, some people don't. You're going to insert your zipper. It's assumed that you're going to put a zipper in the dress. So you make sure you insert your zipper, make sure it's lined up, make sure the zipper is the correct length, and then stitch it in. And you see, you have to make sure that the lace matches, like this right and left side of the lace actually line up and match it in before you insert your zipper. So that's basically how a dress like this is made in a nutshell. These are just very basic instructions. Like I said, go to YouTube, look it up, you'll see how it's done. Now, for a dress like Carrie Bryant's, that's a designer dress. It was probably custom made. It's probably what's considered a bespoke dress, which is basically a custom made designer dress. For that type of dress, the lace doesn't just come from um, Hobby Lobby or Michaels. Okay, for designer dresses, especially like Oscar dresses or Grammy dresses, like award season, those type of dresses, the lace, it, depending on the designer, the lace will come from, sometimes it comes from China, sometimes it comes from India. But if you really want that very high quality, almost handmade lace, you got to go to France or Italy. And actually Ireland is known for its handmade lace. There's some pictures here that I included. The black lace is from Italy. The silver lace is from France, and it's actually the silver one. Someone's making a dress because you can see the lining underneath the lace. And then the long and craft photo is someone actually hand making the lace. That hand, to see videos of people making the lace by hand, that's a whole other rabbit hole. And I watched like two videos of it and it just blew me away. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. That's some serious concentration. But again, it's a really cool rabbit hole to go down, especially if you're interested in crafts and stuff like that. So, typical timeline for a lace dress. Of a simple style, like if you're following the pattern and it's pretty straightforward, just a dress, maybe a little jacket to go with the dress. Um, you can do it over a weekend. Now, if your dress is you're gonna do the lining, and it's you might have some embellishments, which is considered a medium complexity, might take 1 to 2 weeks, and that's including the attaching it to the lining. Now, a dress like what Carrie Bryant has, that's considered a bespoke or bridal or private designer label. You wouldn't get something like that off the rack. It would be made to the person's measurements. It can take 2 to 8 months, depending on the designer's schedule and the customization. And on the right side of the screen, I have some examples. Um, a, a, a designer gown with the lace could be anywhere from 800 to $27,000 for an Alexander McQueen. So, it's no joke, especially if you want something custom made specifically for you and not something that you can just, pop over to Macy's and grab it off the rack. Um, and then another little rabbit hole that I dipped down into, and I didn't go too far. Since everyone's talking about what's appropriate for church and what's not appropriate for church and this, that, and the other thing, I peeked a little bit at Kojic fashions. Now I picked Kojic because that seems to be what the YouTube theologians seem to know the most about. I am not Kojic. I consider myself Catholic, but as I've explained in the past, I've been to different denominations over the years, but I now consider myself Catholic. And we dress appropriately for mass. We wear we dress decent. We're covered, and we might wear a nice dress. We might wear a pantsuit. Depending if it's a formal mass, like if the bishop is actually going to be in town and they're conducting mass, yeah, you're going to dress your best. If it's a Saturday evening mass and it's just a neighborhood folks, you might wear your jeans, sneakers, and a decent jacket. Um, but for some reason, Kojic folks tend to be over the top, especially for their conventions. So I took a dip. I dipped my toe into the Kojic fashion water. And I found a website. Now, if you go to Google and you type in Kojic fashions or Kojic hats, there is a website that pops up. Now, I don't know if I can't vouch for this website. I have no idea if this website actually is legitimate or not. They seem to be. Um, that's why I'm not mentioning the name in in this video, because I don't know and I don't want anybody going there and trying to buy something and God forbid, they get ripped off. I don't know if it's an Alibaba situation or a Temu type thing. I don't know. But I came across this website. If this website is legit, yo, Kojic ladies, you spending mad money for your clothes. They're they have hats, just the hat section. The hats start at $175. And the fur hat that's here in this slide, the fur hat was almost 500. The pink and green hat, which I'm assuming is for like someone who's an AKA, because that's AKA colors, sorority colors. I'm assuming that's why it's pink and green. That hat was 700 and change. The pantsuit on the right hand side of the screen was $500. The black and white dress was $300. Kojic, ladies, $500, that's almost half of a month's rent, or maybe a third of a month's rent. Yo, y'all spending a lot of money to be holy. That's all I'm gonna say. Now, like I said, I don't know if this website is legit. I have no idea. I'm not going to name the website, but if you search under Kojic fashions or Kojic women's attire, this website will pop up. y'all out there who are Kojic, y'all can let me know in the comments if it's a legitimate website or not. But y'all, y'all spending way too much money on your clothes. Um, and these clothes look like they're factory manufactured. I don't even think there's any customization available for these clothes, these Kojic clothes. So I don't know. Y'all might be better off going to Macy's and getting your dresses from there. Um, or trying to find a seamstress that can make some stuff for you. So the next convocation and the Kojic fashions pop up. Um, this is where some of these hats and dresses are coming from, y'all. Oh my god. Yeah, this is a whole other rabbit hole. If I'm feeling up to it, I might dip another toe back into the water and see if there's any other places that specialize in church attire. I know back in the day there were some catalogs because I used to get them in the mail. Um, I think Ashro was one of them, and I forget the name of the other catalog. They used to offer wigs, um, church dresses, and hats. Um, so I might take a little dip and look and see if I can find them. And maybe I'll do like a quick update or I'll post something on the community wall. But I was shocked when I saw the prices for the Kojic wear, man. Whew, that's one expensive church. Well, they do say you can't join it; you have to be born into it. So I guess that's another reason why it's so expensive. But there is no way you gonna catch me in buying any of these clothes, man. No, thank you. No way. So, with that being said, I just want to say thank y'all for tuning in. Comments, respectful comments are always welcome. If you want to sound off in the comments about places where you find your church fashions from, feel free. I would love to know. Um, and, uh, you know, I'm sorry, I'm still chuckling over that Kojic website. Um, but I wanted to give some kind of an explanation from the artist's side of how a dress like Carrie Bryant's dress would be made, what it takes to make it, and I know there's sentiments on either side out there, but these dresses are still these types of dresses, they're still art. Someone created it. And d- basically, I'm trying to say don't condemn the person who designed the clothes. Just because it's considered, the clothes are considered inappropriate for you, don't discount the person that's making the clothes. Um, some of these designs they're really meant for one time wear. Sometimes the designs like you see at Fashion Week, they're not really they're not meant to be worn out in the street. It's literally walking art. And the ready to wear is inspired from the couture. um the couture is basically reserved for like I said, people going to the Oscars or the Grammys or the Tony Awards. That's basically what the couture stuff is reserved for. And then the ready to wear is inspired from the couture. It's not it might be a similar shape, but it's something that you can go to an atelier, or you can go to like Bloomingdale's or Macy's or some private label stores, and get and off the rack, for lack of a better term. So we can coexist, y'all. I know there's some folks that want their women completely covered up. Yes, I get that. I know our Muslim brothers and sisters, they the sisters have to be completely covered up. But even they, as as they're covered up, they still have ways to give some kind of expression. And so I'm just saying, we can coexist, y'all. We can show a little bit of skin. It's not the end of the world. It is part of being artistic. And if being an artist and the artistic expression is not considered considered being a heretic, then shit, sign me up. I'm a heretic. So yeah, so like I said, please comment. I want to know more about these Kojic fashions. Where do y'all get them from? Where how y'all spend your money, on your rent money, on hats and dresses? That's inquiring minds want to know. So yeah, thank you all for watching my little presentation here. I hope it was fun. I'd love to hear from my fellow artists and crafters, about what you think. And yes, please like and subscribe. Sharing is caring. Likes are free. Check out my bead and chat videos. I will have another episode coming. Um, Hopefully this weekend. I would like to get another one under the belt, and we can talk more about it too, because my beat and chat shows are usually the only live shows I do. Um so we can talk about it then. And I believe that's it, y'all. So thank you so much for watching, and y'all enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you all on the next one. Peace.